You're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
And I started the recording.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Steph and Mike for hosting this workshop, and also thank you all the colleagues who attended the session. And I learned a lot yesterday and today, and we share our work. So today we're going to have two parts, and I will run a few slides and in about 10 minutes or less, and to give a context about our work. And after that, my colleague and Dr. Chan Xiao will going to give you a demo of the WebGIS interface and for our work. And also my colleague, Dr. Yunbo Liu, also joined us today, and my other colleague, Dr. Jianenzi, cannot join us. So without further ado, and I'll move on. So this is a slide, and I show a lot. So it's about accountability, about assessment of the BMPs, or agriculture conservation practices. For example, in the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and then the Congress demand USDA to provide accounting about the conservation work on the agricultural landscape, because they invest billions of dollars. Like each year, they about $6 billion paid to the farmers. So, and this is a slide, and I got it from a USDA website, and that's how they show to Congress. So basically, what they did is for Great Lakes region, and they run SWAT model, which I'm going to show a bit later, and which Monterey also using SWAT as well, is that they're able to show, and then, of course, this is lots of models, probably hundreds, like 20 or 30 models put together. They're able to show that, and then based on existing base condition, and if they remove BMPs, they will know that, all the existing BMP can reduce phosphorus about 36%. And then if they want to add more BMP to it, and then for those critical area, they can add another 33%. So that's very important information, and for investors to know, and what kind of benefit we can get from conservation investment on landscape. So that's the context from the USDA. So we have been working on this for over 20 years. And when I started my career in Canada and with my colleagues. So we also start from SWAT, and we use SWAT until today, and we even improved the SWAT, and even has a version, it's called a Canadian version of SWAT, and we have snow melt and frozen soil, which is very representative of our Canadian condition. So however, about 15 years ago, and when I worked with Agriculture of Canada and on the project, and I lobbied a lot, is that, and can we develop a Canadian model, which is focused on location-based assessment? The reason is that conservation managers actually ask me about that. Say, Wanhong, can you show some results? We did 10 projects here. And what are the effects? Well, this is 100 project. What are the effects? So this is always in my mind. So what we did is that, and our group started from scratch. And of course, when we start from scratch, it's about coding. But we borrowed a lot from SWAT. We also have our own modeling algorithms, some other things. So we're able to develop this model in recent probably 12 years or so. And then we're able to develop a model, which is on the right-hand side. It's called IMWEBs. So we mean to be an integrated model and able to do with economics and with carbon, with biodiversity, which I will explain a bit later. So in a nutshell, and this model is that in comparison to SWAT, it's getting to more resolution. And we can define the cell size 5 meter, 2 meter, 10 meter, 100 meter. So of course, can go even more the larger resolution. But then the whole point is that SWAT and it's very suitable for model large area. And for example, Monterey model for the entire Alberta. And yesterday, the graduate students modeled the entire Saskatchewan River Basin. Very good work. And then as a modeler, and I have to say, and all the models are good. And of course, they have limitations, but all the model, each model has its own strength. And for our model, integrates IMWEBs is specifically for location-based assessment of agriculture BMPs. So that's the catch, and that's the keywords I'd like to emphasize. So, and even for SWAT and IMWEBs and can work parallel together as well. So that's how we did our work over the years. So right now we can just say that, and the IMWEBs, like you see, is a cell-based. and it's a grid-based model. And we can claim that this is the only model in Canada that designed to evaluating water quality and water quantity effects of agriculture BMPs. And at the site, at the field, farm, watershed, and river basin scale. Because SWAT is a great model, but it really cannot drill down to the site, to the location. That's not SWAT's fault. Actually, that's how SWAT designed for, and SWAT designed for model large area. So like I said, and because of the cell-based structure, and it's very convenient to connect with economic data and the carbon data, biodiversity data. Sometimes the model run in a grid format. So I'm sorry, did I turn on my like a video? Okay. So for the BMP, and we have right now about 36 and close to 40 BMPs, and then like SWAT and also IMWEBs and in the same category. And then the uniqueness or strength of this type of model is that to make the agricultural landscape and very detailed. And you can see that we have crop management and tillage management, and we have irrigation, reservoir, and grazing, and we know which day, and then the simulating and the plant growth and the nutrient cycling. So all the things. So and then only because we're able to characterizing agriculture landscape in detail, and then we're able to examine agriculture management practices. So, like for example, and you're probably familiar with it, the menu, and then we made it very detailed. We have menu incorporation, setback. This is actually Alberta, like a situation, Alberta BMPs. So we worked on this project for about 5 years. So for doing that in recent 5 years, and repairing. And you are able to repair and buffer vegetative field strip and the grass waterway and the wintering side, pasture management, and we have rotational grazing, and also we have marginal land management. So we can say that, and we probably covered most of the key BMPs in Alberta and or even in Canada, but we are willing to add more BMPs into it as well. So that's our motivation in the future, which depends on the project and the system what we build, and we're ready to move on to incorporate more BMPs. So and then for the IMWEBs, and then you can see that the data inputs and it's almost the same, and with SWAT, and we have climate and the I use just only list the precipitation and temperature, but if we have solar radiation, wind speed, wind direction, and relative humidity, that'll be great. And for that, and the topography and land use, but I highlighted, and that is very important. We know the BMP information. For example, if say some people ask me, say I want to evaluate in those BMPs on landscape, but if I don't know where they are, and we cannot evaluate. So that's pretty much the situation. So we need to have those information put into the system, and also to capture those management practices so that we can design future BMP as well. So the model and it's like SWAT, and most of the situation will run daily, but actually we did have an hourly mode. And for small area, we did apply in Ontario and do hourly simulation as well. But one of the things, just like I mentioned about this model, and is that we're able to drill down spatial location. So we are privileged to get funding and from Alberta government and Alberta Innovates and Innotech Alberta. And actually this is under Dr. Marian Weber and this project. And we have a modeling component, and we apply the IMWEBs to the Indian Farm Creek Watershed, and in the recent 5 years. And we use this as a science base and to developing those BMP, developing this model and for this watershed. And we're privileged. This watershed is experimental watershed of AAF, and the colleagues and they did lots of work on monitoring and BMP like implementation in that watershed. So we're able to get data and then to develop the model, developing modules in IMWEBs. So for this one, and then I just show one slide about the output is that, and say for the phosphorus, and all this is by grid cells. This is a 30 meter. So we're able to know and what are the total for phosphorus at a baseline condition. We see some of the, obviously it's more, and it's kind of livestock location, I guess. We see that if we have a color scheme, get more detailed, we can also see more resolution as well. So that's how the detailed and the information can spill out. And then output, after we generate the output, and we can use this one and to identify, prioritizing, and which location BMP is generate more benefit, and also we can combine with economic cost and with the biodiversity information, and to have an integrated analysis. So for this project, we're privileged to work with the University of Alberta researchers and Scott Jeffrey to work on the BMP cost data, and also with ABMI and Majid and other colleagues, and work on the carbon and biodiversity data. We're able to do together. But one of the challenges, like Chaudai and expressed very clearly yesterday about the models, is how to make it accessible to users. So we struggled with this a lot because model results could be huge, and how can we make it useful to decision makers? So that's the second part, which is this is a screenshot. Actually, my colleague Sean, we're going to give you a live demo about this interface, which is the goal is to make the information accessible to users. So right now, and just report to all of you where we're at. And we are privileged to work in the previous 5 years to developing and further develop IMWEBs and in the Indiana Farm, based on Indiana Farm Creek Watershed. That's Indiana Farm Creek Watershed is about 140 square kilometers. So our next project right now we're working on, and after that project is from AEPWRP, and we work with Alice Canada, and able to, right now we're working on scale up this IMWEBs and to the Modeste Creek Watershed. So EPCOR and is one of our important partner and support us, and also AEP for sure, and AAF and numerous organizations and farm organizations support us. I find that's really a privilege, and is that we as modelers we're able to work with practitioners, with scientists in government, in the conservation agencies and managers together, and to make sure and those work are relevant and useful. So, and we're also very fortunate, and even during the pandemic, and we're able to get approval for a project again, and it's led by Dr. Miriam Weber, and a CEAP project. And we're going to model and the Strawberry Creek watershed, and also Highwood River watershed, and it's more scale up and transfer IMWEBs at different locations. So, and for this, for the CEAP project, and the host agency is Land Stewardship Center of Canada, and so that's the what we're working on. So next one is the Highwood and the close to Calgary. So that's what we're going to model this to watershed. So that's where we're at. So right, without further ado, and I will finish the presentation, and then let the Sean to give you a demo. And just let you folks know that, and in our presentation, feel free to stop us if you like, and we mean to be a discussion as well. So if you like to stop us, please feel free to do so. And otherwise, and we're going to discuss with you folks and to ask for your advice and seek feedback and after the presentation. So I will stop here. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take over the screen. Let me just start sharing the screen here. Okay, not sure. If anyone can see my screen yet?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm not sure if I, so just to make sure, are you guys seeing the screen of like a flowing water with sign to ecosystem services assessment tool? Can I get a confirmation of that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, because I don't know why my screen doesn't indicate which screen is sharing. And okay, first of all, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to show you guys the recent research we have done. It's called Ecosystem Services Assessment Tool. As Wanhong mentioned, it's a interactive tool that means to deliver the modeling results and make it interactive and useful for decision makers. So it's called Ecosystem Services Assessment Tool, or I'm going to use ESAT as a short name. So I'm going to use this two names interchangeably. So what is ESAT? ESAT integrates different modeling results and provides an interactive tool for users to explore and plan location-specific environmental solutions for our agriculture system. So it's a very long definition of what is ESAT, but a few keywords here. First of all, it's integration. So we try to, because the cell-based structure of our IMWEBs model, we can integrate with different model like soil carbon, like biodiversity, like economy, different models we can integrate together. So that's why we can assess ecosystem services and make decisions. And second, it's location-based. So whatever BMPs we recommend, it's drilled down to locations in terms of legal subdivision, in which this legal subdivision or each quarter sections. So that's location-based. And third, it's interactive decision-making. So you try to make passive analysis modeling results. You do some modeling results. I read a report and you read it. You get some results. We try to switch from this mode to an active planning. We try to make the users able to interact with the data, with the modeling results, and actually make decisions based on that, make informed decisions based on that. So that's a very quick definition of ESAT. Without further ado, let me sign in with our ESAT tool. And so that's the first page you are going to see. So I'm going to demonstrate in two cases. First case is called Watershed Overview. So you are seeing this page. It's called Overview page. Let me just hide this panel so you can see it more clearly. So this is the Watershed Overview tool. This tool is designed to help the user better understand the watershed in a snapshot. It's quickly understand watershed, where it is, and what's going on within the watershed. So first, let me introduce this watershed. Actually, Wanhong already introduced some of it. It's called Indian Farm Creek Watershed. It has about 141 square kilometers. It locates in southern Alberta, close to Lethbridge and Calgary. So this is Lethbridge, and this is Calgary. So this is the border between Canada and the US. So this is our watershed. Let me come back to this watershed. And so what we did is basically we collect data and then we model the watershed, this Indian Farm watershed, for a certain period of time, and we generate lots of data. And then we try to make this tool, this interactive tool called ESAT, and help the users to make use of this data. And in order to better drill down to specific data you are looking at, we developed some tools to help you navigate through the data. First, let's focus. I would like you to focus on this top left corner. You can see there's the box. There are several options here. So first one is called baseline. So if I click on here, we create two baselines in our modeling results. One is called existing, one is called conventional. This is a very important concept. It's called baseline. It's basically whenever you implement some BMP, you want to see the benefit. You need to compare with the baseline. So the existing baseline is basically the existing condition. If this farmer has already implemented some, say, wetland restoration or manure setback, it's already included in this baseline. So that's the baseline you're comparing with. The conventional baseline, on the other hand, is that we remove all the existing BMPs so that we create a more conventional practice of agriculture production. So that's a different baseline because it can be useful when you want to see what's the benefit of existing BMPs. So that's why we create two baselines. And second option is called spatial scale. You can see here, we have 6 options of aggregation. It's basically in which spatial scale you want to see the results. We aggregate to what scale. We have LSD, stands for legal subdivision. We have parcel here. In Alberta, we're using quarter sections as parcels. And we have farm, municipality, sub-watershed, and watershed. So because of the structure of cell-based model in IMWEBs, so we can easily aggregate to different levels. For example, if I click on LSD, you can see all these small boxes you are seeing get smaller because we're looking at each small box stands for a legal subdivision. Okay. And the third option is a year start at end year. So all the data you are seeing in this table or every data you are seeing in this project is a yearly average results. So we collected 40 years of climate data and all the data we available, and we run the model for 40 years. So we get this data set from 1978 to 2017. So if you are more interested, say, for example, most recent 10 years, you can just move the slide bar. You can see the table has been updated. So all the data has been summarized in this from 2008 to 2017. So the last tool is called Color Ramp. We'll come back to this part later. So next, let's look at the table down below the map. So you can see here, the first column is called LSD, basically stands for the LSD ID. And we have its area, we have its elevation, slope, dominant land use. You can see this is a very, very long table. Basically, what we did here is we summarized the data for each legal subdivision using yearly average results and put it here. So we can see it's a very data-rich table. You can see we have the total phosphorus yield for each legal subdivision. In a yearly basis, we have the biodiversity, we have soil carbon. A lot of data has been presented here. So you can get some sense about for each legal subdivision. However, if you are feeling as overwhelmed as I do, so you will feel this color ramp tool very helpful. If I click on this color ramp drop list, you can see there is a list of options. Actually, that's all the columns you can see here in this table. So if I, for example, if I click on elevation, what it does is it takes the column, elevation column, and project it to the watershed. And then you can have a quick sense about what's going on within this watershed. You can see, okay, red means higher value, and the green means absolute lower value. That's the general idea about the color scheme in this ESAT tool. So you can see, okay, so in this watershed, actually in south end, it has higher elevation, and the north end has a lower elevation, and actually the watershed outlet is here. And so, and I can also switch to, for example, the dominant land use. You can see the legend has changed. So you can see majority of this watershed has been utilized for agriculture, pasture, and rangeland production. So you can get a quick sense about what's going on within the watershed. Another way you can do it is, for example, if I change to TP yield, you can get, okay, yeah, so for every legal subdivision, the average TP yield looks like what? So you can get some sense about the TP yield and find where maybe the hotspot of the TP yield. If that's your target, you can place some BMPs in this location, in this area more specifically. So that's the first very quick demonstration about how we can use this tool, this overview tool, to get some sense about the watershed. Again, if you have any questions, you can ask me now or during my presentation, no problem. We can answer your question. And so the next demonstration case is I'm going to demonstrate another very important tool we developed here. It's called Intelligent Recommendation Tool. Of course, running this tool takes us some time, maybe a couple of minutes, but I already pre-run this, pre-built a project and pre-run this tool this morning. You can see I created a demo project with most recent 10 years data from 2008 to 2017. I'm using parcel as the legal spatial scale. I'm using existing condition as the baseline. So first, let's get into this project. If you look at here, you can see actually the project is a more focused view of this huge data set. So it's within this 10 years, within this parcel spatial scale, and within this existing baseline. Focus has a very important value because then we can do some analysis with this focused period and baseline and spatial scale. So first, let's look at these two tables, this baseline BMP summary and BMP effective summary. So you can see this baseline BMP summary, because I was using a existing baseline to create this project, actually there are some existing BMP already implemented in this watershed. For example, we have 60 isolated wetland. ISWET stands for isolated wetland, and their total area is about 71.6 hectares. And so there are 6 existing BMPs, existing BMPs in this watershed. And all this BMPs has already created some environmental benefits or ecosystem services within this watershed. And that's summarized in this BMP effectiveness summary table. And the second column is the yearly average of for example, TP loading at the watershed outlet for this watershed is about 19,160 kilogram per year for this watershed. And this existing BMPs has already played a very important role in reducing TP. For example, you can see here, the number is summarized here. It's about 4,060 kilogram per year, which is about 21% of the existing baseline TP yield at the watershed outlet. So that's some additional functions that this tool is offering. But let me get into the intelligent recommendation tool. That's the main focus of this demonstration case. So when we are doing modeling, we will ask a lot about the 2 types of questions. One is that some watershed manager may ask us, I want to reduce the total phosphorus about 20 at my watershed outlet about 20%. How should I achieve that? So actually, when we were asked about this question, actually what the manager is asking about, can you recommend some BMPs at different locations with the minimum cost? So how can we do that? That's one type of question. And second type of question we'll ask aloud is about, like, I already get some budget approved, say $20,000 for this year for this watershed. How should I spend this money more wisely if I care more about the reduced TP and also increased carbon? So this actually is the flip side of the first question. You get the budget, you get a budget constraint. You want to maximize the ecosystem services. Or the first question is you get the ecosystem services requirement. You want to minimize the cost. And so actually that's the key initiative of this tool in intelligent recommendation. We build 2 settings, 2 modes. Eco-service mode, try to answer the first question if you have a clear mind about your ecosystem services requirement, or we call it constraint. Then how can you achieve it? And second is the budget mode. You have a clear budget constraint. Then you want to maximize your ecosystem services. So I'm going to demonstrate with the eco-service mode. And I already preset 2 constraints. One is TP onsite, the other is soil carbon. I want to achieve about 7.5% TP reduction, which is about 1,618 kilogram TP reduction yearly. And also I want to increase carbon by about 51.6 tons, which for a yearly basis. So once I specify, actually I can specify more, I can add more. For example, I can add 3 or 4 constraints, and the model will try to find the solution. So now I'm just going to demonstrate 2. And so once you've set up these 2 constraints, just click this run intelligent recommendation tool button, then the model will start to run. And then, so I'm not going to run it because I already finished running. I will directly show you the results. This is the results, what the results looks like. So let's first look at these 2 tables, the BMP summary table and the effective summary table. And let's focus on this effective summary table and see these two rows. One is TP onsite. You can see by applying a lot of BMPs, we can achieve about 1,618 kilogram of TP reduction every year. And the soil carbon, we can increase about 51.7 tons per year, which is exactly a little bit higher than our requirement. So why I want to show these 2 rows is I want to demonstrate how this tool works. It basically try to search the database and try and find a solution that can just meet the requirement from the user. But other than these 2 ecosystem services, actually you can get additional benefit. For example, you can also reduce total nitrogen. You can also reduce TSS or erosion, and you can get, for example, you can also get biodiversity increase as well. So you can get additional ecosystem services. That's why it is very important to know that ecosystem services is a group of benefits. And then every time when we apply some BMPs, we get a group of benefits. And this ESAT tool can help you articulate what these benefits are. And how we can achieve these benefits is summarized here. There are 6 types of BMPs are recommended. VFST stands for vegetation filter strip, and we recommend in 30 parcels to apply this VFST. The total area of VFST is about 18.9 hectares, and the total cost is about $5,182 per year. And you can see we have grass waterway, we have manure setback, we have lots of BMPs recommended, and the total cost to achieve all these ecosystem services is about $9,510 per year. And where are these BMPs are shown in this map. So for example, this M stands for multiple BMPs, meaning we need to apply multiple BMPs in this parcel. This, you can see this dark green stands for VFST. So we want the system recommend applying VFST in this parcels, and the light green is for grass waterway and like this parcel. And more specifically for each parcel, we have a recommendation table. For example, for parcel number 9, we recommend, it's shown here in this table. For example, for parcel number 9, we recommend VFST, which is about 1.015 hectares, with a total cost about $305 per year. And it's a very long table, so you get very detailed location-specific recommendations in terms of BMPs. I also mentioned that this tool is an interactive tool. So this intelligent recommendation tool is a start for a manager. So if you want to see, okay, we have tool like here, we can click into, we can look at for each recommended BMP results here. It shows this 30 VFST locations where they are. But if you are a manager, you know this watershed well, you know this, who are these producers and who has preference on what BMPs. For example, you may say, okay, for this doesn't work. I know this producer, he or she doesn't like vegetation filter strip, or he or she has some preference for other BMPs. You can click on this parcel. You can see our summarization table is updated, and the cost and all the benefits are updated as well. And so you may say, okay, I think this producer likes VFST. I'm sure this producer will apply this BMP in these 2 parcels. You can click on that. You can see the summarization table is updated and the costs are updated as well. So this tool is meant to be developed as an interactive tool, as a tool to help the decision makers to make more informed decisions and before present to the producer who will actually implement the BMPs. And last but not least, we have built some additional tools to help the managers and producers to read, to digest all these results. You may not want to use a tool all the time. Then you can export what you have seen on the screen on this tool into a report. And you can download this report in PDF or Word document. You can further add it and then use it as for the best interest of yourself. And then you can present it to the farmer with the paper-based report and then show the benefits or all the detailed information. You can see it here. So it has been included in our tool as well. So I think that's all about it. That's all my presentation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Okay, thank you very much. I'll give you back.
Yeah. So may I just jump in and Steph, if I may, is basically Sean only showed overview and also intelligence selection. Actually, they have more functions, and the user can compare two or more BMPs and what are relative differences. So we just did not really want to get into every corner of the system. So, but to give you folks a flavor about what the system looks like. And also that other question is about this one is about information security. So we know that sometimes we have to actually get the farmer information about BMPs. And so we may not want everybody to know that. And so they have some of the restrictions. So this system, that's why we say log in. The login that, and if you're a manager, and of course you can see this watershed. If you're a county, you can see your county. And if you're a provincial manager, you see the entire province. Actually, we have another companion system is using the same data set, but we set up for farmers. So the farmers, if they get login, they can only see their own farm. They not see other people's farm, and they can explore around about this information as well. So that's pretty much our motivation, and is trying to use the system able to to make this information accessible to farmers and to conservation managers and to the users. So for this type of system, and we know that, and we as academics, and it definitely has quite a way to go on how to make it useful, friendly, and for doing that. So this is actually we host in a cloud. We purchased Microsoft Azure cloud to host that, and also we develop a system. Is that, and not to say this going to be one watershed. For more watershed, we can just add to it, and then later on user can select this watershed, other watershed, and yeah, so we have a skin and to able to make it to host this information and to a large area. So we are very interested and to scale up and also transfer this model to other area as well, and that's how we get a different project to do that. And so yeah, that's how we would like to share with you, and I think I should stop here. So Steph, and get back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to open it up for questions, so please ask questions. We have almost 20 minutes here.
This is excellent, Charlie. I'm so excited to actually see this tool, and Dr. Yang, and you mentioned this is implement in the cloud, and I think that's the kind of future that actually that this kind of application or computation intensive modeling, you do need a cloud environment to help. My question, I have actually two quick questions. The first one, I know, is this a backend GIS spatial component? Is that ArcGIS technology or others? I know that, yeah, okay, it's ArcGIS, so okay.
Yeah, thank you, Chada, and so appreciate you say that. Like right now, and actually it's about this host server, and we try to host in the University of Guelph server, and we gave up because it's just so difficult, and because so many restrictions, and we are not sure it's reliable or not. So, and we decided to purchase cloud. But I know that the AEP and the you folks and has huge server, lots of security setup, everything. If this system are able to you folks take over, that'd be great. So that's second thing. Actually, yes, this is ArcGIS, and we programming and in the Sean is ArcGIS like JavaScripts, like those scripts, and then so to my knowledge, and we did not pay anything because this is for public like a benefit for anything. I did check with with E3, and they say okay for your case. And another thing is we're not going to get a mini user anyway, so we should be fine. So that's pretty much the second thing. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And my second quick question is, when you apply to Alberta in different basins, do you need to do some kind of validation or these kind of things, or how do you do that?
I'm sorry, would you repeat the question again?
When you apply the model to say different watershed in different province, and and do you need to actually do some calibration or do some adjustment of a parameter of a model or do something?
Yeah. Thank you, Chada. And actually, this is a very important question. And I was chatting with the staff about that, and we are the modelers, and actually, we all pretty much, I think we all have in common agreement is that we try to make the model transparent. That means the parameterization need to be transparent to people what assumption we made. And then actually what you said about this parameterization is going to be different from watershed to watershed. Say for strawberry and for the Modeste maybe have some similarities, but we're going to model Highwood in close to Calgary, and we know that, and they're going to be different. So the model, and that's what we talked about yesterday, is about calibration, validation, and need to be calibrated in a way and is reliable, reasonable, reliable, and to fit into certain conditions. And also that, and I'd like to mention about the structure. So you can see that the spatial structure we set up for our broader condition is about from LSD and to quarter section and the municipality. And in other provinces could be different. In previous provinces may be the same, but in Ontario, we don't have a such system. We don't have LSD something. So, but we do have a scheme and the spatial scheme able to replace with other spatial units so that it can be transferable to different locations as well. So, and in some ways that, and also I like to take this opportunity to explain a little bit is that, and the people ask me, say, why don't you model entire North Saskatchewan River Basin, like our partner, North Saskatchewan River Basin and Watershed Alliance, like Mariana is here. And we chat about all different questions, is that because this model and is different from Monterey's like provincial and SWAT, is because of the spatial resolution issue. You probably see that this model has pretty good resolution and we're able to drill down to details. So when you drill down details and you're not able to get into a large area. So right now, and for Modeste, it's 4,800 square kilometers. I think, and we can make it. And maybe we have a little bit of capacity to go more, but I think, and for our broader condition, this type of watershed, this size, a few thousand square kilometers, and it's reasonable, it's good for planning, for management. And even later on, and when we have a spatial structure, and we also, you probably notice that we put in municipality, county, actually we're able to seamlessly to aggregate data at that level as well. It's because, the reason is that because the data is in grid format, it's in that format, so we did that. So thank you, I hope I answered your question, and I even take this opportunity to go more, so thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. Thank you, Sean. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Wanhong and Sean. This is Anil.
Hi, Neil.
Hi. Probably I had a couple of questions here.
Yes, yes.
My first question is, unfortunately, you didn't have a time to present more on your model.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
But my question is, say, for example, with all these BMPs and even, so say, for example, if you are able to calculate the total loadings, and your loadings is in terms of like kilogram per hectare per year, right?
Yeah.
So are we able to translate that loading into how much of that is going to our water bodies, so like rivers?
Yes. Thank you, Anil, and yeah, for the question. Also, thank you for support over the years. And we did not present enough to you folks, and we keep our nose down and trying to do more good work and make sure, and we're doing that. Also, for the sake of time, I did not drill down to the details. So this model is very similar to SWAT, and which is we present to your group and to the Calgary office before we did that work. Is that and this model and able to have spatial explicit and the loading and to the river system, and we can even like you can see that, and if we look at the Sean's like the screen Sean showed, and we have the river system over there, and we're able to have the load and actually it's add more resolution about how they get this river segments and how they get into the river system. So like you probably know that, and in SWAT or IMWEBs or other model, it's pretty highly focused on landscape. So then we do have a routing component, but it's not as good as like some specific routing component. I know that like in AEP Calgary office, they hire people to do specifically like a routing for river like that. So in short, those landscape data is ready to transfer over to the river model, and even in more spatial resolution, in more detailed spatial resolution. Thank you. Stop here.
Thank you. And my second question is, I think going back to like 5-6 years back when we had the discussion, and I think I did mention that SWAT and your model is highly focused on agricultural kind of activity, and the BMPs. And I think we had the discussion, can we do something very similar to agriculture, like more including industrial activity?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Actually, it's we did have the motivation to do that. Actually, it's a few years back, and we tried to do a project in Lowe's Creek, but unfortunately we are not successful. So for Lowe's Creek, then at that time we proposed to put the urban component into IMWEBs. So, and actually, my colleague Dr. Yongbonio and actually this model started from his model in Europe and his PhD, and he built a model from scratch. Actually, he modeled urban like a sewage system and in Nuremberg, and with very good match results. So we do have a motivation to do that, and then even like that, and then like you know that for SWAT they do have an urban component, but then it's very simplified, and you know it's still able to take care of some of the features. And then SWAT and IMWEBs' strength right now is focused on agriculture. However, with a spatial structure, and we are confident this model further development to urban, and then it's going to be have some very good the outcome. So and it's a little bit more like a mixture of the like a spatial resolution and also the water quality like a model, and you probably know that's like a SWAM, and it's been very good in doing design. But it's not assessment model. But this model, if you do assessment later on, we know that what are the sewer system and how they flow, like in Calgary, and the different like channel things put in here will be very interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, and excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's Steph. I have a question, Wanhong. I know that Roland will be speaking next, and he'll kind of cover maybe some of those sewer. I call it the sewer shed. My question is on the export coefficients, or the coefficients that you apply to each of the land uses.
Yeah.
And are they an annual average, or do they take specifically?
Yeah.
So then an annual average over 5 years, so you assume you have some wet years and then you have some dry years.
Yeah.
Are you able to, because I guess land use is important, but it's often overridden by climatic change.
Exactly.
Are you able to pull out the different wet years? Say we get 1,000 millimeters of rain versus 400 millimeters of rain, and see what those differences are? Can you speak to that?
Yes, actually, I'd like to answer your question in multiple parts. First, you raised a very important question. It's about coefficient-based model and or process-based model. So Monterey also talked about yesterday, and also other colleagues and talk about a mesh model. And the typically I have two questions, two answers. First, coefficient-based model and based on the uniform coefficient to a certain land use is a very good tool and for screening purposes. But the other one is static. So the process-based model like SWAT, like IMWEBs, like a mesh model yesterday, is called process-based. What that means, they don't preset any coefficient. They're based on precipitation, based on temperature, then they use and then do nutrient cycling, and then to the rainfall on the ground, and then see how much absorbed by plants, use of plants, and then how much leaching out, and how much slope, then transport, and to do that. So in short, the process-based model, we don't preset of coefficients, but however, we can calculate coefficient afterwards, the change. So that's the first part. Second part, that's exactly what we like to do, and using this tool as well, is that, because like I say, for this system, and we are very fortunate, we have a 40 years of data. And then the 40 years data means that we can mine the data set, able to define what's the dry year, what's the normal year, what's the water year, like exactly like you said, 400, maybe like 700 and maybe 1,000. So we can calculate the differences in dynamics about the BMP effects. Even that, I was talking to Anil and some other colleagues yesterday, is that if we apply climate change scenario into this model, and then we can even look at what in the future climate extremes and what a BMP will looks like. So that's pretty much the idea and what we like to do. So your raise this point is right on. And then also that I like to take this opportunity to answer a question is about uncertainty. So all the model has uncertainties, and we have a range and a balance. And you probably notice we did not calculate and uncertainties. But yesterday's model we talk about is the spatial, is the climate variability, and it plays a huge role on that. So what stuff you talk about is, can we extract and or define, like you folks as the practitioners or decision makers, able to propose some significant type of define certain type of pattern, and then we can extract information from this type of system. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Yang. This is Yang from AEP.
Hi.
Hi, so I was wondering if your model can incorporate some land use dynamically change over time to evaluate like a cumulative effect assessment. Also, could you provide some brief summary of main components enhanced in your model compared to the original SWAT model?
Yeah. So thank you. And this is some of the things, and which is actually I very interested. We're very interested about this type of dynamics. So, first, I like to say yes, and because IMWEBs or SWAT and characterize landscape. So, and we characterize not just landscape, we even land use, we even characterize land management on top of that. So the land use change, for example, for more forest and more wetland, more buffers, and yes, we can do no problem. But it's just like I mentioned about it, and for the system, and if I may, and I can share my screen, and like Sean, would you then allow me to share screen?
Yeah, I just stop it.
Okay. So and then for example, like say, oh sorry, where is my my presentation? And
I think it's already presented.
And I need to go to a slide, but now looks like it's not moving. Let me stop first, and I will make my slide to the specific location. Oh, I know which one I'm doing. I get a run screen. So okay, I will show you, and okay, and okay. So if I may, and right now I'm not sharing, right? Right now I'm not sharing, right? Am I sharing?
Not. No.
Okay, I'm not. Okay. And so in short, why I like to share the screen is because they have a scheme about the model. So and then the model and the difference, which is I like to share with you, is that and how to share this. I'm trying to make it bigger, and from current slide, yeah. So and the difference is this: like we know that SWAT is HRU structure. So like for example, this is actually the sub-basin, by the way. So the same color, like say this one, these are two adjacent farm field, but it's the same corona. So they are in one HRU. So that's how SWAT designed. Actually, this is very good design because when model large area, this is very important statistical average and for HRU. But you see that for SWAT, for IMWEBs, we're able to drill down each location and to know that these two fields are not adjacent, but they are represented by different cells. So in short, an IMWEBs is able to provide more spatial resolution, and also that's able to provide a spatial structure. Say the water flow from here to here, and also SWAT number everything together here. So we're able to simulate results. And over the watershed outlet, maybe we are not too much difference. However, like Anil, Dr. Anil Gupta mentioned about the output to the river model, the spatial resolution actually make a difference. They're going to, like I say, the spatial distribution, how they put it into the river and how to export to the river, and going to make a difference. I'm not sure if I answered your question, so I stop here. Thank you.
You mean that each HRU is defined every grid cell instead of the cell basin?
Yeah, we don't have like HRU anymore. So all the processes are represented by each grid cell. It's exactly right. Yes. It's more like a MagSheet, right? MagSheet is the world top-notch model. Of course, it's not open source. And then for doing that, so and each mesh, each grid is one process, and we simulating, and then we have a flow path, right? So that's how it works. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think we have time for one last question.
Wanhong, it's just Mike Christensen here. I was just going to ask the question of how, or is the model able at all to distinguish of like what people are currently doing? I'm just thinking like, you know, there's two farmers, you know, they're both raising cattle. One farmer already, you know, just has always kept his cows away from the creeks and stuff like that, you know, versus one farmer who's just, his cows are always in the creek and creating lots of disturbance. Like, how does your model, you know, distinguish between like what is existing practices. And like obviously like one farmer needs to probably do more BMPs than the farmer who's already, you know, maybe hasn't exactly done BMPs, but has just managed his land better.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike, and for the question. Actually, this is some of the things which could be quite interesting. So, and this is something actually I'm currently dealing with AF colleagues. And first, I just want to say, and data is important. Back to this point. So, what that means that, for example, and in Alberta, in Ontario, I don't know if you folks probably know that, and you folks are managers, and there are confidentiality over there. Farmers, what they're doing sometimes, and not allowed to share with other people like us, like modelers. So, and then what I'm talking about is that, Mike, your question is that, can we get a site-specific and a land management information for farmers? Say, I'm doing, I have a cattle farm, and my neighbor has a cattle farm, but I'm the bad guy, and I just do all bad things. I don't do fencing, do everything. The other farm is very good. So that information is going to have a different representation in IMWEBs. So then, and we're confident with that representation, we're able to see the difference and for the UNET. So right now, and actually this is raising, right now, actually, even just this week, I'm dealing with AF colleagues and whatnot, is how can we get those information? So for example, and we ask about assumptions. So right now, and for IMWEBs, and we make assumptions by category. So if you're a crop farm and you are doing canola, and you have certain days of you're starting which day you start, which fertilizer you apply, and you know which day you harvest. For cattle, and we're going to assume, and you know, and you have on average, what's the density, what's the intensity of the cattle, you know, on a piece of land, and how much manure deposit. That's all we can do. But if we're able to drill down to more information, and some of the areas more intensive livestock, some areas not, and then model actually can able to simulate the differences are, and even like, because this is daily simulation model, and Mike, we talked about it before, and if we know that, even not just about the climate events, we can even say that if snow melting starting early or starting late, what a difference it's going to make, because landscape has lots of manure, right? We can even see the flash difference. So in short, and we are hoping, and this model, and also that, of course, a SWAT application as well, we can listen more to you folks. You folks can give us a scenario, and then we can simulate. But then this flip side is that we want to run a scenario, we need data. So that's the two sides of the story. Thank you. I don't know if I answered your question.
That's great. I think we're gonna stop there. Our next talk is Roland, who's talking about it from a City of Edmonton urban perspective. So he's going to start sharing his screen, and thanks a lot, Wanhong, for that.
Yeah, I'll stop right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Roland, hi, can you share your screen? Are you able to do that? Perfect.
Hi, everyone. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna, my name is Roland. I'm from EPCOR. I'm an assessment engineer, and I've been with EPCOR for 8-9 years. And what I do is I maintain, update, and use the models that the company has developed in-house. And I'll just give you an overview of the information that we have in terms of our modeling and what we intend to do moving forward. And so the outline of the presentation, I hope I'm just starting the presentation right away. Is that it? Stephanie?
Yeah, it looks good. You're on the outline.
Good, good. Okay, so this is the outline of our presentation, and we're going to introduce you to what we call drains. That's our inventory database. And then I'll kind of share with you the state of our models and some of the applications that we use them for at the moment. I'll introduce to you our storm modeling tools, which is mainly Mike Urban and PC Swim, and then some of the limitations and assumptions and some of the future plans that we have internally. So the drains is an Oracle database, and this is where all our drainage infrastructure is stored. To the right, to the left is what all of it look like, and it also shows the boundary of the city. I've also zoomed in a little bit to show you the different kind of infrastructure and how it's represented. The green typically is storm pipes. The brown that you see is combined, that means sanitary and combined pipes. And red would mean separated sanitary systems. Next slide here, I'm just highlighting some of the key infrastructure of interest, I think, that we use in the storm modeling aspect. So, for example, we have about 337 stormwater management facilities. And there are different types of them. There's a few natural wet ponds. We've got some sewage lagoons, as well as just dry ponds and natural wet ponds, and also some sediment control ponds as well. In terms of the linear infrastructure, we've got about 7.5 kilometers of pipe sections. And the diameter ranges from 150 to 6,100 millimeter diameter pipes. And so I just categorize the different types of pipes that we have. We've got foundation drains, combined sanitary, and the storm. And this is the length and also the diameter ranges that we have. We also have some pump stations within the system, and majority, as you can see, it's almost split between storm and sanitary pumps. And all in all, we have 331 outfalls. So these are storm outfalls. There's one combined outfall, but we've in the meantime converted it a little bit to take only sewer overflow, combined sewer overflow. Okay, going into the storm models, we have divided the city into sewer sheds. There are storm basins, if you like. And the map to the left actually shows the extent of the storm basins that we have. With different colors shows different basins. And then you've got the green dots along the river, and along the creeks are the outfalls from the drainage system that go into the creek and the river. And what else do we have here? So this just shows the trunk system that we have. So in our models, we've got two separate systems. We've got the trunk models that I'm showing here, and then we have detail model that's an all pipe models. And these on the right table is just the models that we have in terms of the detail models, all pipe models. I should say, if somebody has a question, they can interrupt me while I'm going on. Okay. Next, in terms of, that was the storm and the extent of what we have. The same applies for the sanitary and combined. If I go back to this slide, you see the middle of the city is empty. That means that part is within the sanitary and combined system, shown in dark brown here. And the green dots that you see in the middle there, those are our major combined sewer overflows locations. And so these are where we typically would discharge loading in terms of from the sanitary into the river. And so we are monitoring all of these and reporting to the government. On the right slide, on the right of the slide, I'm showing that, again, we have detailed models for this sanitary and combined system as well. But because the system is so big, we kind of subdivided them into smaller manageable sewer sheds. Those are shown in the colors that you see there. And there were a lot of factors used to create or to delineate these sewer sheds. And we considered whether we have a permanent flow monitoring at the inlet or outlet to the basins, available flow monitoring, and just the natural drainage of the systems that resulted into these shapes that we've got that contain the detailed models. One of the important load sources, like I mentioned, was CSOs, combined sewer overflows. So this map just gives a bit more detail of the locations of the CSO. And I think we started with 19 and or more, and we've closed quite a few, and we're down to about 16, and some of them we are still investigating some of them, and we will be closing them in the future. Another source of loading to the system is interconnections. So these are just flood relief locations, so that especially in the combined system, when the system is overloaded, they provide relief. I should mention that our main purpose originally for all these models was flood mitigation. So that would have been the focus, and that's the reason why we have so many outfalls. I don't know if you can see, but those are the black dots that you see in the map there. And there are about 404 of them originally, and we've closed more than 200 of them. And again, we are working to close those ones that we feel that we can close them without impacting the system in terms of flood risk. Now I'm going to talk about some of the information that we use in the modeling process. We have flow monitoring data to the right there. You can see those are some of the monitor locations. Again, red is separate sanitary, green is storm, and the brown dots are the combined monitor locations. In total, we have about over 200 monitors per year, and we move these around as well based on our need. So this map is not static as it is. Yeah, so we've got about 200 and over monitors a year. Half of them is temporary, meaning that we keep moving them, and the other half are permanent monitors. And so these ones, they're just really there for model validation and also the system configuration and all that. So those are permanent. To the right is, we also have 30 rain gauges, and those are the locations shown below. The numbers within them is just, there was a rainfall event, and so these rain gauges, actually, there's a little code behind that categorizes the rain event. And I should also mention that the monitors, these two maps, they're actually in the same kind of platform, and it's actually open source. So anybody can go there and see these things within the city. So some of the inputs or information that we have in the city, like I mentioned, rain gauges. We've also, I think in 2014, we acquired a local weather radar just for the city. It's located somewhere in the northeast part of the city. It looks at, basically records the rainfall, the intensity and the extent. We use that to complement our rain gauges in the modeling process, because the rain gauges are so, even though they're quite, 30 is quite a lot, but still there are gaps in between them that easily, if you've got a small storm cell, you can miss it in your modeling, and you might not be able to validate your model properly. So we use that together with the rain gauges, and also to calibrate the rain gauges as well from time to time. We also have here is what we call SCADA. We use that to help operate the system, and these are live live information as well. And this is not public, but it together with what we call WSKI, we store all our flow monitoring locations and sensor locations. So the dots that you see here, they are either a storm pond with a control or a pump station and all that. And so we can actually look at what's going on, if there's any risk of flooding or whatever. Even if it's shut, you can know from there. The next is the impervious data. We've got all the impervious net mapped for the whole city as well. I've just shown just a snapshot. Similarly, we have the data elevation model. It's a LiDAR data. I think it's about 0.25 meter square grid. So it's pretty detailed. And then we also use the population data, mainly from census, and then land use and water demand data. These are metered water consumption from individual parcels in the city. And we also got that at the citywide level. So I'm just typically, this is what the model results would look like. These are two events. One is a 1 in 5 year return period, and then the one is 100-year return period. You can see there's more flooding at 100, meaning the red dots means that the hydraulic grade line at those locations are within 1.5 meter below ground, meaning that they're within the basement elevations in the city. So when we see red like this, we try to address them, especially for the low return frequency events like the 1 in 5 years shown on the left side. Again, this is a typical representation of the results. Again, the flooding is shown in red, or risk of flooding is shown in red. And in the next slide, I've plotted a hydraulic grade line to show how the system looks like within it from the model. So I've noted these two locations. So this is your typical hydraulic grade line. The blue line that you see is the instantaneous water level within the system. And if you look carefully, there's a dotted red line coming across. That would be the maximum hydraulic grade line for the event that we've run. This is just a 1 in 5 year event. The locations that I've shown in blue are just locations of interest. There's a sensor located at this point, and also there's a monitor at the outfall. So there are ponds within this basin. There's several ponds within this basin that are all controlled by at this location, so that the gates in the pumps would shut when the sensor level here reaches a certain level. And so basically we store the water in the ponds, and when the system recedes after the event, the gate would open, the sensor would tell the gates within the basin to open, and then you will have them discharge into the river. This is a typical hydrograph from the outfall and the sensor location. It just shows you to the left axis is the flow, and the right is the depths within the locations that are plotted. And our model results, as you mentioned, are 5 minutes time step. So that's the maximum time step that we use for our simulations. You could go to one minute but it would generate so much data that you might not even be able to visualize them. So I think the 5 minutes is where we've kind of settled. Okay, some of the key applications of the models, we use them for growth and development. So when the city is growing, we use the models to analyze the impact of the growth. Also in infield here in Edmonton, there's a drive by a council to kind of redevelop the downtown core. And so there are infill going in, and we have to go and assess whether the existing systems can actually handle the additional development within the downtown core and in and around what we call mature neighborhoods area. We use the model as well to develop and assess the impact of the transit-oriented development. So the city has plans to to extend LRT to several parts of the city. Because of that, it's anticipated that some of their key locations that's going to see additional growths more than others, because of the transport is coming through, the LRT or the rail is coming through. People would like to live closer to the LRTs and all that. So we did the assessment for that. We also use that for concept validation for all our projects. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the key original intentions of the model was to determine flooding risk. So we have like a flood risk map of the whole city that shows which area is deficient, and we have plans to address them. One of the programs that we have is called Sanitary and Storm Integrated Resource Plans. These guys here. And so that is almost like an integrated system that considers not just the flooding risk, but other important, shall I say, land use locations. I'm thinking hospitals and police, fire locations. So we kind of prioritize all these factors, and then we put them together in the matrix to generate the risk. Because, for example, the risk of hospital flooding is way more than an individual house, because it's more like the community and it affects everybody and all that. So we use that, and this is also a big program. In fact, this program would encompass most of what we are doing. It's going to feed back into it to regenerate new risk ranking for all the city. We've got the city subdivided into smaller kind of basins that we use for these resource plans. Is almost typical to the grids that was shown previously. So each individual sub basin is looked at as a grid, and then we address it, and then to see how the risks would impact itself and then the rest of the system. We also use the models for, like I said, flood investigations after the fact, and for emergency repairs, and also to develop standard operating procedures for some of our facilities. We got quite complex facilities, and with gates and whatever, orifices, real-time control devices, and all that needs, and the pump stations as well, that need like some kind of documentation, how to operate them and what to do if, and all that. So what do we have and what don't we have? The models would need further calibration, because we've developed them, and we've now have to go through, due to lack of flow monitoring and all that, we're going through and recalibrating, and as we all know, models are not perfect. They need constant work. So, and at the moment, we are only using the 1D modeling, meaning that we're just doing the minor system, just the pipes. And the pipes and some of the, we use some of the pond, we use all the ponds as well. Those are major drainage, but mainly they are 1D, meaning that you just got the flow within the pipes, like I shown earlier. Water quality is not implemented yet. It's one of the things that we've been investigating and trying to include in our models. Also, the boundaries within the city, when we look at this slide, this slide here, we need, because our model is really concentrated within the urban environment, we need inflow from all the upstream of the city boundaries. And so we are monitoring some of them, and we will be monitoring all of them to use as input into our model, as boundary input to the models. Okay. We haven't implemented overland, 2D overland drainage yet. Because of the intensity and amount of data required, even the amount of the results, how big they are, we are yet to develop a concrete plan to do overland drainage modeling. Typically at the moment, we just do them at the neighborhood level. So you would take the minor system and then kind of delineate the area of interest and then couple it to the 1D. And we do not have models for the river. Okay, so the tools that we use in our analysis is mainly MyUrban and MyUrban suite of software. We also use PCSwim as a supplementary modeling tool for sustainable drainage infrastructure. That includes LID and such. So for Mike, we have about 10 licenses that we use, and PCSwim, we have about 3. So like I said, it's supplementary. So. Okay, so we're talking about integrated watershed modeling, and I took this slide from DHI actually, just illustrate the water cycle and where we come in. We are dealing with urban environment. So you've got your houses, your treatment plant, and there's also the watershed bit over there that others has given presentation on. And then the water quality as part of the whole system if required. So what is in MyUrban? What can it really do? It can do water distribution modeling. It can do drainage and the collection system, wastewater, combined overflow, and overland flooding. We mentioned that. And the model can also mix and match the kinematic wave and the hydrology component for rural as well as the urban environment as well. You can even include the river network in MyURban, MyURban, and MyHydro, and the rest mentioned earlier. Someone mentioned MyShe. And then we also have, there's a mode, we don't have the module for the Ecolab, that's the water quality bit, but it's something, like I said, we are investigating. This slide, I just wanted to show you really how the overland drainage sort of happened. And for example, we've modeled, this is a 2D modeled, and it shows the spread of the water as the river rises and there's inundation and all that. This is just a sample representation, but this is our, I guess, we hope to be able to produce these things for especially local overland flooding areas, and also along the river with time. Yeah, that's all that I've got for now. I try to make it as brief as possible, then we can discuss if you got questions and all that. Thanks.
Great, that was great. I think we'll open it up for questions.
Yeah.
Okay, no questions. Well, that means I get to ask one. I was just wondering if the IMWEBs model could be used as the watershed model as an input in those upper tributaries and linked to the Mike Urban model. Is that possible? The SWAT or the new IMWEBs link that way?
Yes. So the Mike Urban itself is a GIS-based platform, and you can integrate data from other sources, so long as, I mean, it can be text format or whatever format, but yes. So that at the moment, that's how we treat some of the flow from the boundaries, the cross-border boundaries into the system, right? So we can implement, if there are water quality and load inputs at that location, we can implement that together with our water quality component, be able to simulate what's going on within our system as well.
So upstream in those areas, it's generally agriculture, but there's an increasing threat of urbanization. The IMWEBs model doesn't do the urbanization aspect, but would some of your data allow the IMWEBs to account for change in urbanization?
Yes, so before we generate our hydrological model, we consider the current land use, right? So if simply put, we can implement that, because the parameters that we developed they should be changing with the increase in land use and change in land use. And so these are dynamic stuff that we are tracking, and then when we feel that we have to regenerate some of the, like the imperviousness, and when we do water quality, the loading, we will be able to implement that. But broadly speaking, yes.
Okay, my last question. So that would also be able to integrate as an input into the EFDC model, is that correct?
Exactly. So once we have the load and the flow at the city boundary, we can either use that as inflow and boundary conditions to the model, or like I said, if we had, let's say, the river model in one format or another, like Haircrass or Mach 11, we can easily integrate that. So the Mach She really does contain all those kind of options to integrate the rural as well as the urban land uses.
Are there any other questions?
This is Anil. Sorry, Ronald, I needed to go out, so I missed most of your presentation. But looks like you guys have done excellent work here, and probably I need to chat with you a little bit later in terms of how or what inputs can be provided through your model to EFDC or any other water quality, in-stream water quality model.
Yeah, exactly. That's I guess that's the whole point, right? So that we try to find ways that we can kind of work together, either transfer data and results between models and all that. Yes, we can take that offline.
Yeah, thank you.
And Wanhong, looking at this kind of urban Mike model, do you think that this is something that you could integrate with IMWEBs?
Yes, Steph, and I would say that this will be very interesting. Actually, and for example, like a SWAT or IMWEBs, right? And we do and have the point source input function. So this information could be very helpful. So, and I think for like strawberry, like quick modeling, this will be the one, and we love to get connect with you folks and to do that. Yeah, thank you.
All right, we still have lots of time. We can definitely end early, but don't be shy. I'll give it a few more minutes for questions.
or if I rush through a slide and somebody wants to go back, I'm quite willing. I guess I did a lot of slides and I had to remove them because of time. I guess I was practicing too slow.
No, it's all good. All right, so with no more questions, I think that we can end it there. We have one last talk in the webinar, Deepak talking about the EFDC, which hopefully will bring it all together. We've done the hydraulic modeling, we've done some land use modeling, urban modeling, and now the river. And that will be at 1 o'clock. So we'll see everyone then.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.